What's PV poppin', battlers? Sorry, it's my new catchphrase, and it's just funny to say. I'm gonna let that marinate for a little bit, determining whether I want to keep it or not, but I wanted something kind of fun, catchy to say, so that's all I can think of for now. But anyways, hope you guys are doing well. Welcome back to my fourth video, Sinister Cup, and we are going to, first, I'm very excited about this video. For one, did a lot of editing on this one, I had to learn a lot of After Effects just to get some simple animations, and it took me quite a lot of time. So please like and share this video if you're feeling generous. But this video, we have the answer to the trivia question. We got our Multiverse matchup, so that'll be in about the middle of the video. And then we have my first ever scrim with a ace trainer. So I've never battled an ace trainer, I don't think, before. And so someone I met at the Worlds Tournament in Chicago this past summer was gracious enough to friend me. We were talking on Twitter, and you know, we're ultra friends now. So it was our first time battling. I was a little nervous, but I think I did okay. So you're gonna see that at the end of the video. So let's just get into it. In the last video, I talked about which steel type takes the most damage from, you know, Medicham Psychic, and I kind of really meant the question to be about like the top tankiest ones, like Probopass, Steelix, Bronzong, and Bastiodon. However, the way I phrased the question, I guess there are technically a lot more steel types, so I decided to include a few more in that list. But if you know anything about your typings, you should realize there's a pretty obvious answer. But anyways, let's just see the results. So I'm going to hit play here. What I did was, I did some battles, and I used the same Medicham, and here you're seeing Bronzong. So I'm going to go in order from tankiest to least tanky. So if you guessed Bronzong was the beefiest one out of all of these, very good. And so he took the very little damage. In fact, Bronzong, fun fact about Bronzong, he is the only one that's double resistant to Psychic, so that kind of explains why. So there's Bastiodon there, so I kind of went fast in this editing. So here, we're going against, I believe, yeah, Probopass. So you can see their damage. I'm going to move it to the side of the screen. I'm trying to line all of them up so you can see how much damage they did. And there's Steelix right there, so you can see Steelix and Probopass are pretty much even. Bastiodon and Bronzong are pretty much even. Even though Bastiodon is not double resistant to Psychic, he is the most tankiest of them all, so that's kind of why he took the same amount of damage. There's Empoleon there, and there's Mawile. Those two are clustered together. They take about the same amount of damage. And then finally, if you guessed Lucario, you are correct. So congratulations. Lucario is actually the only one of these that is not resistant to Psychic, so that kind of is a big giveaway there. So there you can see the list of the tankiest ones to the least tanky. So, like, what can we take away from this other than the obvious fact that Lucario takes the most damage? Well, after watching this footage back, I started thinking about since Psychic pretty much always does more damage, even if it's powered up, you still want to use Psychic to do more damage versus everything. When is there a proper way, or should you ever even use Powerup Punch? Like, is there a time where you want to use it? And so I was running a lot of simulations on PV Poke and trying to figure out how you can maximize damage with Medicham against one or two Pokemon. And I found a unique scenario where you can actually beat a fully healed Steelix and a Marowak with just a Medicham. And it took me a little while to figure this out. I'm sure if I was like an ace trainer, I would have figured it out pretty quick. But anyways, I figured it out. And the specific scenario is you need a shield, a 1 versus 0 shield advantage. But what you can do is, if you're going against a Steelix, for example, with the Medicham, you want to charge up a Powerup Punch, but don't swipe any bubbles. So just go for the buff. You don't want to do any damage. Then use some more counters, power up another Powerup Punch, use that, don't swipe any bubbles, and then you're going to have to shield whatever attack Steelix does against you because you need to stay alive. And then you can counter it down, and you actually come out with 77 energy by, you know, keeping the Steelix alive as much as possible. And then if you have charge move priority, which should happen around half the time, whatever, you can actually get 2 Psychics off against a Marowak and knock it out before it knocks you out with a Shadow Ball. So in that scenario, if you play it right, you could actually pull out a win even if you look like you're not going to. So I haven't tested that out in actual, you know, battles yet, but according to PV Poke, you can pull it off. And the funny thing is, if you actually go against a perfect IV Steelix, you actually come out with 84 energy because of the high HP and defense statistic for Steelix. So actually, in that case, you want to be going against a perfect IV Steelix, which is kind of funny. So that's what I gathered from that. With Powerup Punch, you pretty much only want to use it just to get the buff. You never want to do any damage with it, really. And if you're using it against anything else, other than like the scenarios where their health is this little and you know a Powerup Punch will knock it out, I mean, other than that, you just never want to use Powerup Punch. Just go straight Psychic. And so that was I hope that helped you guys master the Medicham a little bit more. Some of you might have already knew that. Some of you might have not thought about that. So hopefully, for those of you who are still practicing with Medicham, and you get into that farmable matchup against a Steelix or a Bastiodon or a Steel type, against Bronzong, you don't want to be against a Bronzong because that's the toughest one to beat. But you still can beat Bronzong if you do one Power-Up Punch and you shield whatever it does against you and you get a Psychic off. You can just squeak out a win against a Bronzong, but he's the toughest one to beat. So anyways, let's get into the next battle. So I'm going to hit play again. The first opponent, we have Ross again, so shout out to Ross. He's running the same team. I'll put our teams on the side of the screens here. I'm running the same team in the last video. He's running his same team. So let's just see how we do here. We're doing 3 battles. So I lead with Marowak. He leads with Primeape. And here I kind of like this matchup just because I can pretty much KO it with a Shadow Ball pretty much. And I do have to watch out for Night Slash, so I shield there. And then I go for the Shadow Ball. So we're going to see if either I knock him out or he shields. He decides to burn shield. And here I decide to tank the Night Slash, and you definitely can tank one of those if you're Marowak. So then I decided to use Bone Club. I thought I could knock it out without using much energy, and that worked. And so now he comes in with Claydol, and here I'm running out of health, so I just go for the Bone Club here. And then I switch into Medicham. Not sure if that was the best choice, but he hits me with the Psychic. So knowing what I learned from before, and by the way, I'm running Counter now on this Medicham. Last video I used Psycho Cut, using Counter now. I went with Psychic to go against Claydol because I knew I had to do more damage, so I went with Psychic because I'm learning. I'm trying to improve my Medicham skills. And so now I have Steelix, and then we have Marowak. So I'm going for the Crunch. Probably wasn't the best move to do, but I did bait the shield, so that's probably why I did that. Because that's definitely what you want to do if you're trying to bait the shield, and then go in for the Earthquake, which is probably what I should have done there. However, we're in a good spot since I had shields. So I had a shield. And so I'm pretty much safe to not die here. So I go in for the Crunch, and we do take game 1. So that was close. I probably should have gone Earthquake earlier. I could have knocked him out sooner, but we luckily came out with the win there, and that's all that matters. So, but you still want to kind of see if you could do anything better. You always want to try to maximize your performance. Even if you won, you want to look, did I do something that I could have done better? Anyways, let's go to the next match. Poliwrath versus Bastiodon. Now, this is a very great lead for us, and I see that he's not doing charge moves. Maybe it's taking him a long time to charge. So I just decided to farm up energy, and then I decided to unleash some Power-Up Punches against Claydol. I know it wasn't the most in terms of DPS, but I wanted to power up, and he didn't seem to be shielding. So I was like, okay, I'm going to go for an Ice Punch here. He might be expecting a Power-Up Punch, and luckily it worked. He didn't shield. And then I switch out because I'm saving my Poliwrath for Bastiodon, because that's like the best counter that I have pretty much in terms of it's being powered up. So I save it. I switch into Drifblim here. And this is not the best matchup, obviously, because a Stone Edge can KO me like that, like you just saw. But I do have good counters against Bastiodon, so I'm looking pretty good here. He decides to switch out. Now I'm against Medicham, but then I switch back into Poliwrath, because he's also a good counter for Marowak. Now here I probably should have gone Ice Punch, because, Marowak's double resistant to fighting. Doesn't do a lot of damage. I kind of got greedy here, kind of got a little cocky, thinking I could just survive by doing all these. And luckily, because that was my 4th power-up, the bubbles are doing so much damage, I was able to almost take it out. But I did get lucky that he wasn't able to farm me, because had he got that Shadow Ball off against my Medicham, that would have been game over. So that was kind of a little risky what I did there with the Poliwrath. Probably should have just used some Ice Punches to KO that Marowak. But luckily, we take game 2. So in terms of a tournament, we won the match, so that's awesome. However, you do got to go to game 3 all the time. So running Marowak, Medicham, Steelix, and let's see what happens. This is a very funny matchup. We're gonna see what happens here. So I lead with Marowak. He leads with the Alolan Raichu. I haven't had much practice against it, so I was kind of like, I don't know what to do. And we both switch at the same time. And I couldn't have asked for a worse switch, because I go in with Steelix, he has Medicham. And it's game over, I think, because now I'm farmable. So he's going to just farm up energy and just completely take control of this match, or this game here. And so this is going to be the match I do a multiverse matchup, so just a little heads up. So you can see I'm in a bad shape. There's no way I can really pull a win out of this one. Not much I could do here. So his Medicham's already quite powered up, so he should go for Psychic, which he does. That was smart of him. I shield, because I don't want to take a lot of damage. And then for some reason I went Powerup Punch. That was stupid. I should have gone Psychic again. At the time, I was already kind of giving up, but that was stupid of me. Now that I'm watching this back, gotta go for Psychic. I can't make that mistake again. So then I mess up some bubbles here. And then, yeah, this match was just kind of embarrassing. And then at the end, so the next day I reached out to Ross and I was like, hey, can we do a multiverse matchup? Can we redo that match where I don't switch out like an idiot? Because Marowak was perfectly fine as a counter against Alolan Raichu. Alolan Raichu's weak to ground and Ghost, so there was no point for me to switch out there. It was very dumb of me to do that. So let's get into the multiverse matchup here. So now, in this alternate universe on the right, it's raining, but it's also a situation where I don't switch out. And we're going to throw a Bone Club. And then he's going to try to bait me here. So I actually... so I do a Shadow Ball. I get to a Shadow Ball. I see that he's charging. But he goes for a move. I decide not to shield, so that was awesome. I didn't fall for the bait. And so I keep going. He goes for another charge move. I actually correctly shield here, so that actually worked out really well. When you don't fall for the bait, you put yourself in a really good spot. So anyways, I knock it out with Shadow Ball. And then he comes in with Marowak, and I actually decided to do a really good swap here. I pulled that off a little better than I expected, but since he used Bone Club, it didn't really matter too much. It wouldn't have done much damage either way. But still, I wanted to save my Marowak just because it's a good one to save. So he comes back in with Raichu. Now with Steelix versus Raichu, obviously Earthquake will do more damage, but because Raichu is really squishy anyways, you can do a lot of damage with Crunch, and so it might be beneficial just to get the Crunch off. You don't want to kind of risk using extra fast attacks to get to an Earthquake and then possibly getting fainted before that. So Crunch should be just fine against a Raichu. So now we're back against Marowak versus Marowak. I shield. He gets another move attack against me, but it's only Bone Club, so we're still good. I get a Shadow Ball off, and then we win, and I don't even need to use my Medicham. So we won that match very handily compared to the first one where we just got destroyed. So yeah, so if I hadn't made that stupid mistake, I would have swept that match, won all 3 matches. So definitely learn that lesson. Marowak versus Raichu, just stay in, don't swap out like an idiot. Okay, so let's go to the final match. We have Ace Trainer, so Ace Leader Sky is his username. His name's Oscar, so shout out to Oscar for doing this battle. Again, I was a little nervous, but I'll post his team on the right side of the screen. He had Girafarig, Drifblim, Probopass, Poliwrath, Alolan Marowak, and Steelix. So a very, very similar team to mine. But Girafarig was the one I wasn't really expecting. I know it's a Psychic type. And so here's our first match. I lead with Marowak, and he is a good player. So if I make any sort of mistakes, he'll beat me, and that's totally what I did in this match. So let me see what I wrote down here in my notes. Yeah, so once I get my Medicham in here is when I make a mistake. But let's see what happens. I do a Earthquake, definitely the right move. Gotta go for Earthquake against Poliwrath. Then I switch in Medicham, and I don't want to take a hit, so I shield, and luckily that was a good shield because he had power. He had Hydro Pump. So I go in for the Psychic, super effective. So it's not like going horrible for me. Except here is where I think I start to make mistakes. I use my shield, which was probably fine because Psychic does a lot of damage. But then I overcharge. You see that? I missed a bubble, but I overcharged my Psychic. And then instead of going for another Psychic, I went for Powerup Punch. So GG me, because I'm an idiot. So I didn't realize how much energy I had. I could have gone for a Psychic. I thought I was going to die, I think. I don't know. But even in that situation, there's no point in going for Powerup Punch because you're not going to do any damage. So even if like you think you're going to lose, always go for Psychic. That is your only hope to win that matchup. And so that was my mistake. So he takes game 1. I definitely think if I played better, I could have definitely taken that match, even if he played the same. But again, that was my mistake, so gotta learn from it. Match 2. So here we got Drifblim against Poliwrath. This is not a horrible, it's not a horrible matchup. Had I been thinking, I should have remembered he had Hydro Pump, not Ice Punch. But still, I don't think it would have mattered too much. Hydro Pump probably does a lot of damage, so I shield anyways. But he baits me. So there you go. So I'm already off to a bad start. I go in for the Ominous Wind. I'm trying to get a buff. It doesn't work out. He hits me with Hydro Pump, so I'm down there. Okay, now we're in a good matchup because I have a Psychic attack versus this Poliwrath. And I decided to not go for the bait there, which actually worked out really well in my favor. So now I got 2 attacks charged up. I should be going for Psychic here, so let's see if if I make the right move. Looks like I do. And he doesn't shield, so you see we do a lot of chip damage, and now I'm going in for Poliwrath because I'm not sure why. But definitely don't shield the Ominous Winds because they don't do a lot of damage. The only thing I'm really worried about is Shadow Ball, but it looks like he's just trying to get the attacks off. So I go in for the Ice Punch because I know that's super effective. He burns his last shield. And then I decide to let this one go because I'm hoping I can just take this out. And then I get greedy again. And there's my mistake. I got greedy. I should have just went in for any sort of attack to knock it out. And since I didn't, I'm now down a shield. And had I been able to get to the other Psychic, I could have probably won that match. But yeah, lots of mistakes. I think my nerves were getting to me. So I try to calm myself. Last match, I go in with Poliwrath as my lead. I'm just trying to catch him off guard a little bit, and it works here. We got a good matchup against Probopass. And he decides to swap out, so we have switch advantage here. I go for Ice Punch because that's super effective. He doesn't shield, and then I go in for another one because maybe he's thinking I'm gonna bait, and he doesn't shield, so we knock him out. We're in a really good situation now. And now he's weak to my Poliwrath, so I'm just gonna go for Powerup Punches because I know I can afford to farm a little bit. He decides to burn his shield, so that was really awesome for me. And then he decides to not shield there. And I'm liking Poliwrath right now because I'm thinking he might have a Marowak in the back, and I guessed right. So definitely good to save your Poliwrath because you want to have a Poliwrath against a Marowak. So I go for another Power-Up Punch. Probably could have done Ice Punch here, but I was in a really good situation. Marowak was low on health, and we simultaneous KO. He comes in with Probopass, and I really, at this point, could come in with either one. So his health is so bad that we're going to take this match quite easily. So that actually made me feel really good about myself because that was my first battle against an ace trainer, and I thought I was going to get swept like really bad. But we did take a win. So there you go. I was really impressed with that result. I was happy with that result, not impressed. I was happy with it because I knew I was going against a better trainer. I knew he was better than me, but maybe I had more practice than him in Sinister Cup, so I think that kind of helped me win that last match there. But yeah, he definitely showed me why he was an ace trainer last season, and so I look forward to battling against him and everyone else some more. And so we're just gonna leave it at that. Hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And comment below if you have any ideas or any Pokemon you want me to try for the next video. I am thinking about using Gardevoir maybe in the next couple of videos, but I'm not sure. I really do like the team I have. If I were to switch it, I think I would swap out Lucario for Gardevoir because I still want to have a Shadow Ball attack just because it does so much damage in this meta. So that's where I'm at right now. But if you have any ideas, I would love to hear them, and thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys have a great day, and yeah, we'll see you in the next one.